Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing, Inc.
The Cayman Islands Court of Appeal puts a pause on same-sex marriage. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, April 10th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. The Cayman Islands Court of Appeal on Wednesday upheld a government application to prevent a ruling legalizing same-sex marriage from taking effect in the British Overseas Territory. The ruling by Appeal Court President Sir John Goldring and Justices of Appeal Sir Richard Field and C. Dennis Morrison effectively halted the planned marriage of same-sex couple Chantal Day and Vicky Bodden-Bush, who were scheduled to wed on Wednesday. The appeal court decision also prevented the judgment delivered by Chief Justice Anthony Smellie from taking effect until the government's appeal of his judgment is completed. That appeal will be heard in August. In a ruling on March 29th, Chief Justice Smellie ordered that Section 2 of the marriage law be changed to state that a marriage means a union between two people and not necessarily between a man and a woman. He handed down that decision in response to a petition filed by Day and Bodden-Bush, who had applied to get married in Cayman last year but were turned down. Division within CARICOM over Venezuela continued at the Organization of American States, the OAS, on Tuesday after 4 member states voted to accept the nomination of an opposition envoy as the Spanish-speaking nation's ambassador. The Bahamas, Haiti, Jamaica and St. Lucia voted to accept Gustavo Tarre, who is supported by opposition leader Juan Guaido, as the National Assembly's designated permanent representative pending new elections in Venezuela. But Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Suriname joined Venezuela in voting against the measure. Barbados, Guyana, St. Kitts and Nevis and Trinidad and Tobago abstained. Belize was the only CARICOM country absent when the vote was taken. The 4 CARICOM countries that voted in favor of the resolution have supported the so-called Lima Group that is seeking to remove President Nicolas Maduro from office. They met last month with U.S. President Donald Trump on Venezuela. The vote at the OAS came on the same day that the St. Lucia government reaffirmed its position that the Caribbean must remain a zone of peace and there should be no third state intervention in Caracas. The Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, has ignored a threat of court action to stop house-to-house registration of voters and is moving ahead with the process. Opposition-nominated GECOM Commissioner Robeson Ben had sent a legal letter to the Commission threatening to move to the High Court to block the process. But we get the latest in this Newsroom Guyana report.
Opposition-nominated Commissioner Robeson Ben on April 2nd sent a letter to the Chief Elections Officer Kit Lowenfield demanding that the elections body stop the house-to-house registration exercise. In the letter sent through his lawyer Anil Nandalal, Ben threatened that he will file a court action if the GECOM does not respond in 7 days. Following a meeting of the Commission on Tuesday, Government-nominated Commissioner Vincent Alexander said the letter was not discussed at the meeting. He believes the pending court action is a waste of resources.
It's a joke. I think we're reducing our politics to jokes now. We've had house registration on a number of occasions in this country, including 2008. What I know is that he is causing tremendous waste of resources, because the case is nothing but a joke, and to have to impose upon GECOM to hire a lawyer to defend the joke, you know, it's not too much dissimilar from the other case lost by Marcel Gaskin, where the magistrate unequivocally said this is abuse of the court.
Ben, in his letter to the Commission, argued that GCOM's proposal to remove persons from the voters list who are not residing in Guyana will disenfranchise thousands of persons now qualified to vote. His lawyer, Nandlal, told the newsroom that the Constitution of Guyana does not require residency within Guyana or domicile within Guyana as a qualification to be registered or to vote. But Alexander sought to challenge that suggestion.
If house to house is happening and someone is away from Guyana at the time, at the end of that exercise, coming on to the elections, there would be claims and objections. And that provides an opportunity for anyone who would have come and or returned to do a claim and to get onto the list through claims and objections.
The GCOM commissioners nominated by the opposition People's Progressive Party again walked out of the agency's statutory meeting on Tuesday. The commissioners have been walking out of meetings since February, refusing to participate in discussions on the contentious house-to-house registration exercise. GCOM is set to begin the exercise in June, as it is currently training persons to do so. According to Alexander, the lack of consensus is affecting the procurement process at GCOM and also hampers the appointment of key personnel.
Health authorities in St. Lucia on a Wednesday confirmed that one person has died as a result of the H1N1 influenza. The Department of Health and Wellness, which recently announced that it had launched a probe into the deaths of several men on the island, said it received confirmation from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARFA, of the association of H1N1 influenza in one of the recent respiratory-related deaths. It said the virus was also confirmed in other people who only developed mild flu-like illnesses and who recovered completely with treatment. 3 years after the reopening of a bauxite plant in St. Elizabeth, Jamaica, there are reports that the mining operations are creating health problems for residents in that community. More than 30 residents in Upper and Lower Warminster say mining activities have compromised the air quality and they have been diagnosed with respiratory conditions. There are also reports that those affected have been paid by the company operating the plant to cover their health bills. But according to TVJ News, the documents the residents have had to sign are non-disclosure agreements, forcing them to be silent about the issue. We get more in this TVJ News report.
Residents say GISCO has a bus which occasionally picks up select persons and transport them to a doctor handpicked by the company. But they argue that everyone gets the same prescriptions and admit that their health conditions aren't improving after being treated.
I go for them doctor about 6 times already, and it's nothing because the same medicine they give one, same medicine they give two. They give everybody actually the same medicine.
I hear in Parliament the other day, both governments boasted about the fact that all parties bringing in so much money to supplement the economic crisis that we have, but at what cost? So is it that all parties going to pay all this money for Jamaica to look good, for the government to say that, look, we are going with things, and at the end of the day, 500 people die?
As the Chinese company clamps down on pollution in their own country, China started to move the problem of its industrial overcapacity overseas. This Chinese Foreign Affairs policy paper of 2016 makes a pledge to develop production capacity in Latin American and Caribbean countries. With the headline, Latin America and the Caribbean, a land full of vitality and hope. At the same time, the company's environmental record is under scrutiny. Our newsroom acquired records from the Beijing-based Institute of Public and Environmental Affairs, which revealed that between 2016 and 2018, GISCO committed or is suspected of committing 16 environmental infractions. And with GISCO planning to set up a second aluminum refinery in St. Elizabeth, the residents are worried that breathing polluted air could become the norm.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the Jamaica government on a mission to create an ownership economy. We'll be right back.
How do you go about doing these projects in various places?
In Barbados, what I do, one of my board members is a journalist. So I usually get stories from her of people who are in need, and that's how I usually find folks in Barbados. In the U.S., I usually work with child care services, and they usually give me the names of kids who are in need.
When her Caribbean Airlines flight touched down in Tobago on Friday night, a team led by THA Chief Secretary and the Secretary for Education, Innovation and Energy, Kelvin Charles, along with his wife, Mrs. Catherine Charles, and the Secretary of Sport and Youth Affairs, Jomo Pitt, were on hand to greet Sophia and her mom. They were then led to the International Departure Lounge, where a short ceremony was held.
Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his government is on a mission to create an ownership economy. He says the aim is to achieve economic independence by putting wealth into the hands of the people. Holness made the comments as he addressed an investors' briefing on Tuesday.
Our economic strategy is economic independence. And there are those, again, who confuse two things. One is our political independence, and the other is our economic independence. The truth is that your political independence is really hinged on your economic independence. And so what we are about, yes, ultimately, is to secure our political independence. And the best way to do that is by securing our economic independence. And to do that, we must push wealth into the hands of the people.
Barbados calls for a united regional voice in international business matters. Cayman Airways taking steps to recover losses from the grounding of its Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft, and Caribbean Airlines to begin direct flights from Jamaica to Barbados. We get the details of those developments in this week's Newsline Business.
Newsline Business is brought to you by Solar Dynamics.
Barbados' Tourism Minister Kerry Simmons wants a united CARICOM position on the setting of standards by the international community on small island developing states. Simmons was at the time addressing Parliament during debate on the company's amendment bill. He referred to a situation where a British bank was fined heavily for failing to comply with regulatory requirements, and he says it is necessary for small states to have a collective voice on issues such as de-risking and international financial regulations.
This is part of the challenge that requires, in my view, a robust and unrelenting conversation between us, who are the small and the affected economies, and the rest of the world. And this conversation must, I think, Mr. Speaker, sir, take place not only as Barbados speaking to the rest of the world, but as Barbados continuing to interact with CARICOM, Barbados continuing to interact with all other small island developing states globally, because our voices have to be heard on this matter.
Cayman Airways says it is moving to recover losses from the grounding of its two Boeing 737 MAX 8 planes. Cayman Airways joined several airlines around the globe in grounding the aircraft following the fatal Air Ethiopia crash last month. It was the second such incident involving Boeing MAX 8 aircraft. Tourism Minister Moses Kirkconnell says the airline has kept disruptions to passengers to a minimum since the incident.
It is actively pursuing all available means of financial compensation for this situation, including that of lost revenue and incurred costs. At this time, the duration of the MAX grounding is unknown. Accordingly, Cayman Airways continues to evaluate all long-term options regarding its fleet.
Caribbean Airlines will begin direct flights from Kingston, Jamaica to Barbados from Monday, April 15. The service will operate twice weekly, every Monday and Friday. The airline announced on Wednesday that flights will depart Kingston at 2:50 p.m. and will arrive in Barbados at 6:25 p.m. They will leave Barbados at 7:25 p.m. and arrive at 9:15 p.m. Mary-Claire Williams, Newsline Business.
Newsline Business was brought to you by Solar Dynamics.
When we were building in 1984, we decided to get the solar water heater.
We use it up to this morning. From my home, we get rain 2 days and we still get hot water.
I've had it for 30 years and I have no problems with it up to this day.
All I can say is that anyone who wishes to have a system, try Solar Dynamics.
Solar Dynamics water heater systems are now right through the Caribbean.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, Cricket West Indies to give official word on its new policies. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Robert Briggs, and this is my wife and daughter. This is Elle, and this is my wife, Mary Lee.
Hi.
We're here talking about interracial couple. We've been married for 2 years now. We met amongst friends, and everything's been great since then.
Yeah, and I don't really, think of ourselves as an interracial couple.
For the first method, I'm going to coat the shrimp in the dry cornstarch and then I'm going to dip it in the batter. You want to do this step. If you want to, just place them back into the hot oil for about a minute.
No honey, no best line, baby. Hope we'll see tomorrow. We needed some distance, honey. I hope you didn't stray line. Make you move. No more time to waste, boy. I better tomorrow. I better tomorrow.
There should be some official word on Cricket West Indies' new policy on player selection in less than 24 hours. It's understood that a new chairman of selectors is also expected to be named. CWI late Tuesday gave notice that new president Ricky Skerritt, CEO Johnny Grave, and director of cricket Jimmy Adams will engage the media regarding CWI's policies at the Coolidge Cricket Ground in Antigua on Thursday morning. The advisory came on the heels of Skerritt reportedly saying that there will be a change to the selection policy to have the strongest possible squad for the upcoming ICC World Cup, and that neither administrative issues nor politics nor petty emotional situations would prevent players from being considered for selection. The CWI president had also said a final decision on the squad for the World Cup would be made this week. West Indies players led the way as play in the Indian Premier League IPL continued in Mumbai on Wednesday. Thanks to a magnificent half-century from captain Kieron Pollard and Alzari Joseph scrambling a couple off the last ball of the match, the Mumbai Indians earned a dramatic 3-wicket win over Chris Gayle's Kings 11 Punjab, starting the final over requiring 15 runs to overhaul their target of 198. Mumbai looked certain for the win when Pollard blasted a 6 off the first ball, a no ball from Seamer Ankit Rajput, and then lashed the resulting free hit for 4. With just 4 runs needed from 5 balls, Pollard holed out to deep mid-wicket for a top score of 83 off just 31 deliveries. Joseph, who ended on an invaluable 15 not out off 13 balls, was kept scoreless off the 3rd ball before getting a single off the 4th. When Rahul Chahar squeezed a single into the deep, it left Mumbai needing 2 from the final ball. But Joseph kept his composure to punch Rajput down the ground and claim a memorable win for the hosts. Left-hander Gale had earlier struck 63 off 36 balls as Kings 11 reached 197 for 4 off their 20 overs after being sent into bat. He hit 3 4s and 7 6s, but was outshone by opening partner Lokesh Rahul, who carved out a brilliant 100 off 64 balls. In reply, Mumbai had found themselves in trouble at 94 for 4 at the end of the 12th over, but Pollard, leading Mumbai for the first time in the absence of Rohit Sharma, revived the innings, adding 41 for the 5th wicket with Hardik Pandya and a further 54 with Joseph for the 7th wicket. He blasted 3 fours and 10 sixes as he raced to his first half-century of the season off 22 deliveries. With the victory, Mumbai moved up to 3rd on 8 points, while Kings 11, also on 8 points, slipped to 4th. Guyanese boxer Kevin Allicock lost out on a chance to clinch a berth in the semi-final of the Pan Am qualifiers after losing a qualifier in Nicaragua by a technicality over clothing on Monday. But the Guyana Boxing Association has filed a protest against the decision made by the fight supervisor over the bantamweight fighter's vest color. The controversial disqualification came at the start of Allicock's quarter-final bout with the Dominican Republic's Alexi Cruz in the America Boxing Confederation Pan Am qualifiers. We get more from Newsroom's Akeem Green.
According to President of the Guyana Boxing Association, the GBA, Steve Ninval, Allicock lost by walkover after the fight supervisor deemed his vest color inappropriate for competition. Allicock, who was scheduled to box out of the red corner, was attired in a red and black vest. Ninval stated, open quote, 1 hour before his fight, he was inspected and given clearance by the international technical officer. Allicock was also allowed into the ring by the referee, who saw nothing wrong with his attire. However, the supervisor intervened just before the start of the fight with a claim, and Allicock was given 1 minute to leave the ring, go to the changing room, and return properly attired. Upon his return, it was deemed that he lost by walkover. A protest was immediately filed, but the supervisor remained steadfast and unflinching. End quote. The new rules of the International Boxing Association, AIBA, states that a boxer can compete in his national colors. Red and black are colors of the Golden Arrowhead. The GBA finds the ruling of the supervisor as unjust, unreasonable, and unsportsmanlike, excessive, unwarranted, and that which goes against the grain of what the new AIBA is promoting. Ninval, who is also the chairman of the Caribbean Steering Committee, stated he has dispatched protests to both the America's Boxing Confederation and AIBA for this ruling to be overturned, and he expects a favorable response.
Tennille Campbell has become the first Trinidadian cyclist to win a stage in the UCI road race. After finishing 3rd in the first stage on Monday, the 21-year-old representing the World Cycling Center team from Switzerland claimed a victory in Stage 2 of the Women's Tour of Thailand on Tuesday. She finished in 1 hour 30 minutes and 19 seconds. CNC3 Sports' Robert Dumas has the details.
67-kilometer course suited Campbell's aggressive sprinting style as she bided her time throughout in the midst of the peloton. She made her move near the end where she edged out her World Cycling Center teammate Marlon Russa. With the victory, Tennille also enhanced her position in the general classification, moving into 2nd overall, just 3 seconds off the overall lead with 1 more stage to go.
Jamaica has been drawn in a tough group for the CONCACAF Beach Soccer Championship to be staged from May 13th to 19th. It was pooled with 3 tough Central American teams, hosts Mexico, along with Costa Rica and Guatemala, in Group A, in Monday's draw, which sorted the 16 participating teams into 4 groups. Trinidad and Tobago, Turks and Caicos Islands, and the U.S. Virgin Islands joined Panama in Group B. The Bahamas, Antigua and Barbuda, and Bonaire are in Group C with the United States, and Belize, Guadeloupe, and Guyana are in Group D with El Salvador. After round-robin play, the 1st and 2nd place finishers of each group will advance to the quarterfinals, with winners moving forward to the semifinals. And the winners of the semifinal matches will automatically qualify for the tournament's final, as well as the FIFA Beach Soccer World Cup in Paraguay. The Guyana Football Federation, GFF, is to sign a memorandum of understanding with Denmark, along with the Union of European Football Associations, UEFA, to develop football in the CARICOM nation. We get the details from Jaden Samuels of HGP Sport.
The signing was scheduled for last week and was pushed back to June, and will see partnerships between the land of many waters teaming up with Denmark, the well-developed football nation. This relationship is expected to up the standard of local football in the areas of infrastructure, upgrading of coaches, and further development of the grassroots level. This is the direction in which local football should be heading, says President of the Guyana Football Federation, Wayne Ford.
This partnership centers around every area of football development. And as we speak, Howard and I are finalizing our discussions on some of the immediate projects that we'll be partnering with UEFA. One category of project will be infrastructure. We visited one of the locations that we want to do a massive grassroots development pitch at, and we are also discussing some of the specific areas of coaching education that we want to put as the first items on the partnership agenda.
The signing will be done between the head of local football and Jesper Moller, Denmark football head, at the FIFA Congress.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
When we were building in 1984, we decided to get the solar water heater.
We use it up to this morning. From my home, we get rain 2 days and I still get hot water.
I've had it for 30 years and I have no problems with it up to this day.
All I can say is that anyone who wishes to have a system, try Solar Dynamic.
Solar Dynamics water heater systems are now right through the Caribbean.
American rapper Lil Kim will drop a new album on May 17th. The rapper announced via social media that her latest full-length, which will be her 5th LP and first album in 14 years, is titled The Nine. The music video for the album's first single, Go Off, is expected to be released on March 29th. There is no news on the album's track list or potential collaborations yet. However, here is Go Off, live.
I was good. Sometimes I had my days. I like to party and I did like school. I got sidetracked once I got in high school.
I had spoke with the girls a few months ago about domestic violence, and I really didn't know at that time that many of them in that room were being abused.
Again, the major developments of this day: the Court of Appeal in the Cayman Islands grants a stay on same-sex marriage. And in sport, the new Cricket West Indies administration to detail new policies on player selection and other matters. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport round the clock, subscribe to CanonNews.com. For more of our programming, log on to CaribVision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We will be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.